But first and most importantly, I would like to get started with the Mandalorian episode. Obviously, spoilers. If you haven't seen it, go watch it right now and come back. Damn, dude. That was a cool episode. Boba Fett was here, and he kicked butt, and he was awesome. I didn't know I needed to see Boba Fett kill stormtroopers with a Tusken Raider spear thing, but I did, and it was awesome. And more importantly, the man got back in his armor. Damn, that was awesome. That was cool. Personally, I may have even had some gripes with the story and stuff like that, but there was just shameless fanboy and appreciation for that and that moment and that whole fight scene and the whole set piece, honestly.
Yeah, I thought it worked really well the way that it was all tied together, and I thought, honestly, when last week when Ahsoka said that you went to the stone, I thought, okay, we're going to take forever to get there, but no, they went right to it and got it taken care of, and he called out to a Jedi. We still don't know who.
Who do you think? Do you think it's going to be Luke? Is it going to be anybody? Do we have any theories?
Honestly, only because we're getting a spin-off. My guess is Obi-Wan, but I could be so off on that.
Well, no, because he's dead by now. This is after the original show.
Shit, you're right. Okay, well then in that case, I honestly
it's
have
got to be Luke, right? Like who else? Like we don't know of any other Jedi who are alive.
Not really at this time, yeah.
Unless there's people from Rebels, I don't really know. I don't know the characters from Rebels too well.
No, I mean neither. But yeah, I love the way it was all put together. And the title alone kind of lets you know what's gonna happen. But I like the setup. As far as
I can't tell whether the title is like genius or just really lazy.
Kind of both.
Some shit goes down in this episode. What are we going to call it? The tragedy.
The tragedy.
Oh, it's genius.
that was my first thought on it. I was like, okay, tragedy, one of two things can happen here, and one of them does. But yeah, I really like the direction that they went. Robert Rodriguez filmed the episode.
Who's he? I recognize the name, but I didn't know what he's done.
Sin City. He's worked on Dusk Till Dawn.
Okay.
Spy Kids. So he has a very long history in Hollywood.
Isn't he coming out with something on Netflix?
I believe so. Yeah, he's done a couple projects. I don't know what he's up to now, but obviously this show. But I thought it was really well put together. The choreography was fantastic. I thought that all of that worked really well, and to me, just kind of felt in the moment, which I liked a lot. I liked the fact that Boba Fett finally got his armor, and then the Mandalorian ship blows up. I feel like it would have been such a waste for the ship to just go without any sort of like redemption on that. I'm glad he got it, and then it blew up. Which we don't know where we're going from there, but I don't mind it.
Yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic about the Mandalorian Boba Fett team up. I'm not gonna lie, the other bounty hunter, I'm just not a big fan of. I don't know if it's the acting. Okay. I don't know if it's because there's no backstory. I'm not a huge fan of hers. I'm going to be a real picky fanboy about this because I love Boba Fett. I also don't know how willing Boba Fett would be, first of all, to team up with her. It's like the team with the Mandalorian is kind of believable, I guess. But with her, it's kind of like, well, I really don't see why he would care about anyone like that necessarily.
Yeah, it could just be him being sort of a good Samaritan, but there's no real connection. There might be later, but as far as what we've seen now, other than the preview for last season, we don't really know much about her.
Yeah, it's funny. It seeing Boba Fett in action almost reminds me how lame the Mandalorian is. And I know everybody's gonna get mad about that, but it's like you see Boba Fett and he's got all his cool weapons and shit. Like he barely has his armor. And I was watching and I was kind of annoyed. I was like, all right, like give him his armor. I want to see him in his armor. This is like classic Boba Fett. And he gets his armor and he like completely just wrecks in like 15 seconds. Like uses all of his weapons. It's super cool. There's this one shot where he uses like the ion cannon in his arm piece and like shoots the stormtrooper. It goes flying backwards like 8 feet. I was like, oh, that's super cool. And then it cuts to the Mandalorian with his pistol running up the hill. It's just like, oh, all right.
Yeah, and there's some nice nods to Indiana Jones and even a proper nod to Episode 9 when he shoots the ship. That's how you do it correctly.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
But yeah, I thought overall it really worked well to the point. And I guess we can get to this part now. I love that the Grogu got taken. Finally, something happens with it, and it's not just sitting there waiting to do something.
I agree. You're right, though. The pacing really throws me off, and that would probably be my biggest complaint. Look, positively, like I really liked this episode, but I think it's like that would be my biggest complaint about the show as a whole. Is it's like we took 4 episodes to get to a Jedi. And then in one episode, like immediately the plot is just like, oh, Boba Fett, Grogu's taken, and they're fighting the Empire. And you're like, oh, my initial thought is like we couldn't balance that out a little more. It kind of reminds me of like Game of Thrones, towards the end, but except instead of, towards the end of the show, it's towards the end of a season. And it's like, whoa, like we could have spread this out and it would have worked great. And like some people complained about filler episodes. And my thought is kind of like, well, why didn't we develop some of this more in the earlier parts of the season as opposed to like rushing it into the end of an episode, and then he goes and then he's with Cara Dune and then he's breaking out Bill Burr and it's like okay, whoa, like yeah. I wish that was just a little more evenly spread, because the beginning was a little bit slow and then this is a little bit fast, and it's like I think if we had taken our time and maybe even had the guts to, God forbid, let a story go unfinished before the end of an episode like they did in this episode, which is why I really liked it, I think the show overall would be a little bit more enjoyable as a whole.
Yeah, agreed. And I do like where we're going with, though. And your brother Bill Burr is coming back, so that's awesome. I loved him in the first season. And
dude, it's like even if he's not good, I feel like a proud parent. Like I don't even care. I'm like, dude, he's on Mandalorian. You've made it. You have specials on Netflix. You're in a Disney show. Like I'm just proud of the guy. Even if like
he's fantastic.
I don't like his character. Like he had some cheesy moments that I didn't really like in the first season. Not gonna lie, but I was just so proud. I was like, you go, man. This is awesome. Good for you.
Yeah, and I feel like he's gonna hopefully have more to do this next episode. He did a lot last episode he was in, but I mean, as far as he doesn't have a crew this time, so he can really kind of go off and do his own thing.
Because the crew was even weaker than he was. Like he was the best part of the crew. For sure. Yeah,
in the prison. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right, dude. It was just so cool. It was such a fanboy moment. I think the coolest moment of the whole episode is like you see the beginning and you're like, oh, Boba Fett's gonna be in it, and then when he's on the mountain and Grogu's like starting his thing and you just see Slave One fly over, I was like, oh, dude, this is awesome. It was a dope episode, mostly because I'm a hardcore Boba Fett fanboy, and I think some Mandalorian fanboys will be annoyed at me saying this, but in a weird way, seeing Boba Fett on screen makes me like the Mandalorian less, because I'm like, dude, like this guy comes in for like 30 seconds and he has so much character and so many badass moves and like just his suit and everything, and it's like we've been working on the Mandalorian for 1 season and he still has the same pistol and his invincible armor, and it's just like okay. I would like to see him develop a little more, and I know the focus is the child, but I think that's kind of been my biggest thing this season that I wanted to see more of that I haven't completely yet, is I really want to see the Mandalorian actually developed as opposed to just kind of used as a person to do cool stuff and then do nice stuff when we need it.